Hello everyone and welcome to today's Entrepreneur Expat video where we have part 2 of Amanda trying to get a bank account in Mexico. If you remember from the last video, we went to 2 different bank locations. The first one needed some paperwork I didn't have and the person wasn't there to open the bank account. Then we went to the second location where they said I needed to go to the tax office to get a specific number that we didn't know about. So I am on my way to the tax office now. The attorney is already there waiting for me. We have an appointment. We have all the paperwork. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. So welcome to Entrepreneur Expat. If you are interested in videos about moving to Mexico, global citizenship, making money from anywhere in the world through online business, then make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video coming out, because a part of what we do on this channel is document these things like opening bank accounts, or what is the immigration process like, or one question we've been getting a lot is if you want to do business locally, what do you have to know about? So if you're interested in all of those things, plus you want to learn how to make money online, then you are definitely going to want to subscribe so you can watch all of the videos. With that being said, let's get through it. Let's move on with our day. Let's see how it goes at the tax office. Alright, so I made it. I am waiting for my attorney, who is currently at an appointment, and then I'm next in about 30-ish minutes, so he came to get me outside of security because he had all the paperwork to let me in, and now I'm waiting. So those of you who are interested in moving to Mexico, number 1, we have a free guide for you that you can download below, but number 2, something you need to know about Mexico is when it comes to administrative things, tax documents, bank accounts, mail, stuff like that. Just expect where your entire day is taken up by these things. Mexico is not exactly the most efficient when it comes to these things. It's one of the downsides, but as we've said many, many times, the pros outweigh the cons. This just happens to be one of the cons. But if you have a lawyer, then it's not so bad. You tend to move through the process a lot quicker. They said it should only take a couple of hours from me arriving to getting out of here, but we'll see whether or not that's true, because they said the same thing for getting part 2 of my residency, where I had to get the actual card. And they'll be like, oh, you'll be in and out in 2 hours, but it really took 7. So hopefully that is not happening here. All right, welcome to the inside of my purse, everyone. It seems to be the only way I can film. So I'm inside the office. Lawyer already located me. He's finishing up with another client, and now I'm just waiting for my turn to be called. So one of the things to note here in Mexico, if you go to the bank where you do administrative things, they seem to have this system where you get a number, you take a number, but the way in which they call the numbers, it seems to be completely random and have no rhyme or reason. So it'll skip from 181 to 255 in the next one, and you're like, huh, what? So all of that to say is you have to pay a lot of attention, because you would think that they're going in order, but it doesn't look like they ever go in order. So just something to keep in mind. Hopefully we won't be here too long like we were with the immigration office. And with that being said, I gotta let you guys go back. All right, everyone, so we have success. We have finished at the SAT office. Thank God for lawyers, because they help the process go by a lot faster. So the whole thing took an hour and a half, which is good, because immigration took 7 hours. So very good. I'm about to attempt to do the impossible, which is get more than one errand done in one day in Mexico. So I am on my way to the bank, since now I have all the paperwork that they requested, and hopefully I can get an account open. All right, friends, we are back at Plaza del Sol, which is where we came a week ago to open a bank account here. And then they said, you go to the tax office, blah, blah, blah. You all know the story. So we're back here, and then I'm going to go find some lunch. There's some good places here to eat, because I suspect I will be sitting at the bank for an hour and a half, 2 hours. to get a bank account open because it's almost Mexican lunchtime, which is around 2 p.m., which means everybody and their mom is going to try and go to the bank at the same time. So rather than going over there, getting caught up in a line and passing out because I'm hungry, I figure just go get some food because you're going to have to sit there for a while anyway, and then at least you don't pass out. Sidebar, because we forgot to mention this in our previous videos, some banks here in Mexico will not allow you to open a bank account as a foreigner unless you have permanent residency, and other banks allow you to do it even if you're a temporary resident. So when you're doing your research, just know what kind of residency you have and which bank will let you open a bank account. So with that being said, let's go get some grub, and then let's see if we can get this bank account opened. Hello everyone, it's Amanda from the future. My phone completely died while I was documenting this whole getting a Mexican bank account process for you guys, because I finally got it. We finally got it done, team. It finally got done after about the third try. But we didn't want to do like a fake edit later where it wasn't in real time of the same day and the same process. So we're just going to do it this way for the rest of the video. So as you saw, finally got the bank account. It took me about, I got there around 2, I didn't get out until almost 4. So it took about 2 hours once I had all the paperwork to actually get the account. So here's the paperwork that they're requiring. Again, it depends on the bank. It depends on your situation. It depends on which country you come from. It depends on a lot of things. So please talk to lawyers, please talk to accountants, please do your due diligence. In my case, what they were requesting was my INE, which was the Mexican identification, which is what you get once you get your residency. And then they were requiring proof of residence, like a bill. They were requiring my passport, which is interesting because apparently when Justin opened his account at the same bank, not that long ago, a year, 2 years ago, they didn't ask him for a passport. So that's something to note. And then they were asking for your tax ID number, which is RFC, RFP, something like that. So I was missing the tax ID number because that's also a newer thing. It used to be that you can go to Mexico and literally not even live there and be a tourist and they would give you a bank account. But they're not doing that anymore for a lot of reasons. One, there's been a lot of fraud in Mexico, so a lot of the hoops that they make you jump through is, according to them, to reduce fraud. But also, the United States also has a lot of requirements and things of other countries that have American citizens living there and banking there. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's also a part of the issue. As I have said, we interviewed somebody on this channel who is a US citizen living in France, a French resident, and they almost wouldn't give her a bank account because she's an American citizen and the US was requiring France to do all this reporting back to the United States. And France was like, well, how can you tell our country what to do, or how can you tell our banks what to do? So there's a little bit of that going on as well. But I digress. I will get back to how things are getting more challenging momentarily. So I needed INE, passport, proof of residency, and the tax ID number. Did not have the tax ID number. Lawyers came in clutch, got me the appointment this morning to go to the tax office. That also took about 2.5, 3 hours to be able to get a tax ID, and that was with a lawyer. So if you're trying to do this stuff on your own, to be honest, I don't even know how you could do it on your own and not speaking Spanish, because I'm fluent in Spanish And the workers there were, for example, saying like jargon things that I wouldn't have had any idea what they were. And I speak Spanish, so thank God the lawyer was there to help out with those things. So that took about 3 hours, and I thought, okay, well, might as well get the bank account done because I literally have all the paperwork on me. So let me just get it done and see if I can get 2 administrative errands done in one day, which in Mexico is practically impossible, but I got it done. So anyway, get to the bank, have all my paperwork, give them the paperwork. Then there might have been a little bit of a tiny delay or issue, which is that I'm a temporary resident, not a permanent resident. And typically, depending on the bank, they will only give bank accounts to people who have permanent residency. That depends on the bank. Apparently, this bank is in the process of moving in that direction. But they did let me get the account because my fiance, Justin, had an account at the bank already. And then number 2, I was like, well, I was here last week and your coworker over there was starting this process for us. So apparently saying that helped. And then there weren't any issues. But just FYI, they all seem to kind of be moving in that direction. We didn't qualify for permanent residency, not because we didn't have the funds to qualify, but because the consulate that we went to was like, well, that's only for retired people. You guys are obviously not retirement age and you're still working. Of course, that all depends on the consulate that you go to as well. It is what it is. This is what happens when you're living among different countries and diversifying your assets and traveling full time. It is what it is. So after I give in the documents, then they're like, okay, well, we need you to go wait over there because now we have to do a video call to verify that you're a real person, so that the person in the documents is the person that we're seeing. That took about another 15 minutes waiting for the call. They call, show passport, show INE, ask me a couple questions. No big deal, open the account. Then I had to go activate the card, which I did in the ATM. And fortunately, I'd spent so much freaking time there just trying to open the account that the Mexican lunch hour rush was gone. So I was able to get to the teller very quickly to fund the account. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, why on earth would I want to why would I go through all this? And the truth is that you need a Mexican bank account for certain things. Like if you're going to be spending the majority of your time in other countries, for example, if I wanted to pay for health insurance, if I have a Mexican bank account, I can pay for it every month. The cell phone, if I want to just have it auto pay, I need a Mexican bank account. Depending on who your landlord is and how they want to get paid, you're going to need a Mexican bank account. So, and that applies to any country. Every country has its different rules and its different things. So that might be one of the reasons you might need one. In addition to that, it's good to just start diversifying. We would not recommend putting a ton of money in Latin American banks. Most people in Latin America put their money in Miami, to give you an idea. But it is smart to at least start diversifying between different currencies and having, a footprint and planting flags, as people call it. Now, like I said, it is getting more challenging. A lot of the stuff that was required of me was not required of Justin when he went through the process a couple years prior. And even with the residency, right? Like they started asking me for stuff that they hadn't asked him for at the same consulate a couple of years down the road because it's just getting harder for Americans. I don't know if they're this intense with the Canadians, because the Canadian government, to my knowledge, doesn't follow its citizens around all over the world trying to tax them. And I don't know if it's like that with British citizens, or other Europeans and things like that, but at least with Americans, we come with a little bit of baggage, administrative baggage from our country. So it is a little bit challenging in some regards. In terms of the tax office, because I couldn't really say step by step what we were doing. While we were there, I had to go in with paperwork. I had to go in with my CURP, which is like a number that they give you when you become a resident. Then I had to go in with my INE, which was my identification. Then I also needed a bill, proof of residency, and I needed this is something else, y'all. I had not experienced this before. A flash drive for my e-signature. Justin's gonna have to do another video on why you need flash drives for e-signatures in Mexico, because he's the tech guy and I don't understand any of this stuff. But you need to bring a flash drive. If you don't have a flash drive, there's plenty of Mexicans outside of the SAT office selling flash drives to you, so don't worry about it. But this is for your e-signature, and again, this is supposed to reduce fraud somehow. So you go through the process, you give in the paperwork. They're like, why do you need a tax ID number? Because I needed to open a bank account. Do you work in Mexico? No, I don't work in Mexico. All my money comes from the US and blah, 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 blah. You go through that process, then they put it in the system, then you go to the waiting room again, and then you go to another table, and then that's where they do this part of it, where they do your e-file and your e-signature. Then once that's done, you go to the waiting room again, and then you go to another table where they take your fingerprints and your picture and all that stuff. So, you know, in typical Mexican living fashion, the administrative things are not the most efficient, for lack of a better term. But it is what it is. It's pros and cons. We keep saying it on the channel over and over again. No such thing as a perfect country. Pros and cons. You figure out the combination that works for you as you go. So when it comes to administrative things, Mexico is a mess. But when it comes to good quality healthcare and an affordable price, that's worth a lot. So, and also higher quality of life, worth a lot. Just know that one of the downsides is when it comes to administrative things like what I just told you, your whole day is gone. just plan for your whole day to be gone. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, being on the journey with us. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. We have lots of more adventures and videos planned for you guys. If you're interested in moving to Mexico and starting your own entrepreneur expat journey, download the guide below, and we'll see you guys on the next one.